All right, welcome. Today, we're diving deep into a really powerful idea called emergent coherence. It's kind of like this hidden force that shapes our world, our decisions, and our connections in ways we almost never notice. And it all starts with one pretty challenging premise.
Okay, let that sink in for a second. This is the core thesis, and it is a big one. It basically challenges everything we believe about how things get done, this idea that our intentions are what drive outcomes. Instead, the source material we're looking at argues that there's something much, much deeper at play here, a force that's way older than human thought itself. So let's just start right there. I mean, we're all taught to have good intentions, right? To trust them in ourselves, to judge other people by them. But what if that entire way of looking at the world is, well, structurally misleading? What if the reason we so often fail to act on our very best intentions has nothing to do with our willpower at all?
So first, let's talk about what the source calls the intention myth. Our entire culture really is built on this idea that what someone meant to do is the thing that matters most.
And according to the source, this belief is exactly why we get so confused when things go wrong. It explains why you or I might fail to keep our New Year's resolutions, why a group of people can act in ways that no single person in that group actually wants, and why big institutions often behave in direct opposition to their own mission statements. These aren't failures of intention, they are something else entirely. So, if intention isn't really the driver, then what is? Well, the source points to something way more fundamental, the primacy of the signal. This is the hidden architect of our behavior.
This chart here draws a really clear line in the sand. Intention? That's the story we tell ourselves after something has already shifted. It's our conscious, after-the-fact narrative. But the signal, that belongs to the underlying structure. It's the upstream cause, the thing that shapes our behavior before we even have a chance to form a thought about it.
So what even is a signal? Well, it's not just information. It's anything that actually changes our internal architecture. Think about it. A subtle shift in someone's tone of voice, a sudden unexpected silence in a conversation, a repeated pattern you start to notice. These things literally alter our cognitive and emotional landscape long before we consciously decide how we're going to feel or act.
And this is the key takeaway right here. The structure of our mind, its architecture, responds to these signals automatically. So, for example, the thought, hey, I feel pretty open to new ideas right now, that's just a story we tell ourselves to explain a structural shift that has already happened in response to a signal of safety or trust.
Okay, so how does all this build into something called coherence? Now, this isn't just about feeling good or being in sync. The source argues it's an actual structural event. Coherence is what happens when our internal structure perfectly aligns with the external signals we're getting. It's that feeling of flow, right? That sense of effortless communication, of a deep connection with another person or maybe a whole team. But here's the thing, it's not some psychological achievement. It's an architectural fit.
And the source uses this brilliant example, a conversation. Just imagine two people with the best intentions in the world, but one of them is speaking from a really open, expansive state, while the other is listening from a defensive, contracted state. Their architectures are just incompatible. It's not a failure to listen, it's a structural collision. Coherence happens when those architectures resonate, when they start moving in sync, without any conscious effort at all.
And that's why a great connection can feel so effortless. It's because the structures are already aligned. And it's also why a misunderstanding can feel so inevitable. The structures are misaligned from the get-go. It's not about willpower. It's all about the underlying architecture. Okay, now let's zoom out a bit. Because this doesn't just apply to two people talking. It applies to entire groups, entire societies, governed by these deep laws of order that make systems align, often creating the illusion of some grand purpose or intent. The source outlines a few of these fascinating laws. Systems always follow the path of least structural resistance, kind of like water flowing downhill. Our brain's predictions are always seeking stability, not necessarily the objective truth. And this is a wild one. Even very weak signals, over time, can completely reshape strong structures. And, critically, a shared structure has to come before a shared story can ever take hold. This right here, this completely flips how we think things work. We usually believe we need to agree on a shared story or a shared meaning to connect with each other. But the source argues the exact opposite. We have to first achieve that structural alignment, that coherence, and then a shared meaning can emerge as a natural consequence.
So what does this all mean for us? Well, adopting this perspective gives us a totally new lens for seeing the world, one that focuses on signals, not just intentions.
I mean, this is a massive shift. Instead of blaming ourselves or blaming other people for a lack of willpower when things go south, we can start looking at the environment. What are the signals in the field? Are they distorted? Are they contradictory? It moves the focus away from individual moral failure and towards collective structural health.
And it all comes down to this one beautiful, elegant summary of the entire idea. Our intentions are just passengers. They can only go where the underlying architecture allows them to. And that architecture is constantly being shaped and reshaped by the signals it gets from the world. The signal is the primary mover.
And that leaves us with a really provocative final thought. Because this isn't just a theory about how other people or big systems work, it applies directly to us too. Every tone we use, every pause we take, every pattern we create, that's a signal. It's a signal that helps shape the structure of every system we're a part of. So the real question then is, what kind of world are your signals helping to build?